If you heard the sound of loud wailing coming from the direction of our home the other day, don't be alarmed. It was just our 1-year-old. She was being forced to ride in the stroller on our way home from a walk. She had been free for a while, out running and playing with her siblings, and when it was time to return home, I made the decision to put her back in her stroller, both for her own safety and so that we could walk a little more quickly. She was not happy with this choice, and she made sure to voice her opinion. Now, as her mom, I wasn't fazed by her screaming. In fact, I knew that it was an indication that not only was it a good thing that I had said no in this moment, but that maybe she needed to hear the word no more often. After all, she's the youngest of 8, and there are often many hands here ready and willing to do whatever it is that she asks them to do. As a mom, I've learned that it's really important that I know how to say the word no, and that I know how to follow through with my no. I have to help teach my children how to learn to hear no more gracefully than my 1-year-old is currently able to do. But there's another word that I've had to actually teach myself to use much more than no. I found that no has come kind of naturally to me. But there's another word that's been a little bit harder to roll off my tongue, and it's the word yes. In our house, Dad is the yes, and Mom tends to be the no. In fact, a while back, maybe you can identify with this story, I was standing in our bedroom and one of my daughters walked in, talking as she was walking, not really paying attention at first, and she said, "Hey, can I?" And then she looked up and realized she was talking to me. She immediately stopped talking and she said, "Where's Dad?" Now, in that moment, I did make her tell me what it was she was going to ask. But I understood because I knew that she was looking for somebody to give her permission for something, and that was more likely to be her father than it was me. Now, the thing about it is that I say no for a lot of good reasons. I'm trying to protect my kids. I'm trying to protect our house from a certain level of chaos. I'm trying to protect our schedule. But I also say no sometimes just based off of comfort level. I'm trying to protect myself from mess. I don't want to have to deal with the ramifications of the yes. So I've had to teach myself how to say yes. And the reason that I think it's important that as parents that we teach ourselves how to say yes if it's not our natural disposition is because if we don't say yes, our kids will be forced to go somewhere else to find a yes. There's a story about one of our presidents. Back in history, there are different versions of it, but the gist of it is that a little boy needed a ride, and there were several men on horseback, and he decided to ask who he didn't realize was the President of the United States for the ride. So he asked the president, he gave him a ride on his horse, and then afterwards, the little boy was asked why, out of the men that were there, did he choose to ask the President of the United States for the ride? And the little boy said it was because he had a yes face. And I think it's true. I think there are people that have yes faces. And I think that God, he's not a person, but I think he has a yes face. Religion teaches us no a lot. It focuses on no. It tries to boil Christianity and a relationship with the Lord down to no, the things we can't do. But the fact of the matter is that life with Jesus is actually really rich. He brings us into fullness of life. He brings us into abundance. He brings us into things that we wouldn't be able to have access to without him. He isn't all about no, and so neither should we. I think as parents, it's especially important that we're a source of encouragement in life for our kids. I think if we learn how to say yes, then we will retain the position in their lives that we're meant to have, because we're supposed to be big sources, in fact, the number one source outside of the Heavenly Father of influence in their lives. We're supposed to be safe. We're supposed to be the encouragers. And it's difficult to retain that position if they're constantly hearing no from us. So I want to encourage you this week to practice saying yes. Obviously, don't say yes foolishly, but do what you can to find ways to say yes to your kids. As you do, you may be surprised not only at what kind of atmosphere it creates in your home and relationship with your kids, but you might be surprised at how much fun it really is to learn how to say yes and to say it often.